Hi there. So I do have notes because I don't want to forget anything. So hello, my name is Jenny Hallett, and my sweet and loving 26-year-old daughter, Brittany Rose Hallett, died from addiction to the legal drug of alcohol on November 5th, 2014, coming up on 5 years this year. So I first of all want to express my sincerest condolences to everyone here who has lost someone to addiction or who has a loved one who's still struggling with addiction. My heart truly bleeds for you and for the ones who are suffering from addiction as we speak. Brittany was one of the most loving people I've ever known. She was extremely family-oriented and would do anything for any one of us. She was the best nursemaid whenever one of us was sick, and she loved to cook and bake for us, even if it wasn't something that she enjoyed eating herself. She'd make it for us. I have a collage actually right over here of her, kind of from birth till after death. There's even a photo of when I actually got to meet the Surgeon General of the United States, Dr. Jerome Adams, where he's holding a picture of Brittany's picture there. He listened to Brittany's story with genuine compassion. His own brother is incarcerated due to addiction, so he gets it. On the day that Brittany Rose was born in September of 1988, I would never have imagined the agonizing way that she would die just 26 years later. I'm so thankful for all of the happy moments that she was able to experience in her short time on this earth. She got to experience being raised in a loving family. She was able to go on many outings and vacations with us, and I'm so glad that I was able to take her on her last vacation in July of 2014 to Fort Myers, Florida, less than 4 months before she died. Seeing her enjoying that trip was the happiest I'd seen her since before addiction grabbed her. I like to remember how happy she was on that trip. She was a straight-A student her entire life and graduated high school with honors. That was continuing on in college until right at the end when she started getting D's and F's for the very first time in her life due to alcohol addiction. I'm happy that she was able to experience the college life, which was awesome, until alcohol grabbed a hold of her. She only had a few credits left to get her bachelor degree in accounting when alcohol took all that away from her. She got to feel what it's like to genuinely be loved by a man who she genuinely loved back. She got to experience living out on her own for a while with everything going for her and with everything to look forward to until alcohol got its hooks in her. I tried to hang on to all of the wonderful experiences that she was able to have in her short time on this life, knowing what I know today. I wouldn't go back and not give birth to her. Obviously, I'd try to go back and change the outcome of her death, but I wouldn't choose to not have her in the first place in order to spare my lifelong grief, because even though she was only here for a short time, it was all worth being able to know her and love her for as long as she was alive. So I'm so honored and proud to be her mother, because she was one of the most sensitive and loving people I've ever known. My life is dedicated to helping others who are struggling as my daughter did, no matter their substance, so that no parent or family member has to go through the terrible grief of losing their loved one to the monster of addiction to any substance. In fact, just 9 days after I went to training on how to administer naloxone, which is generic Narcan, which is a life-saving medication to reverse an opioid overdose, I actually was able to help save a stranger's life with it. And it was very miraculous, like raising him from the dead. It gave him another chance at life and another chance to get into recovery. And I can't express strongly enough how important it is to get trained to administer naloxone and keep it with you. So I get trained right over there. As As I try to help all people struggling with the agonizing brain disease of addiction to all substances, my hope is that more people will begin to talk about addiction to all substances, including alcohol, that kills even more people than all drugs combined. We need to get help for them all, because addiction is addiction no matter their substance. It's really an addiction pandemic if you include alcohol, heroin, and all other drugs. Each substance has its own issues that need to be dealt with, but the underlying nature of addiction is basically the same. Quite often, when the use of one substance begins to subside, another substance begins to increase, because people switch over to using different substances. But the underlying addiction is still alive and well, and with its quest to take our loved ones down. So any new or updated laws need to include help for people using all substances, including alcohol, but specifically mentioning alcohol too when speaking to public or in the media is really important, because most people don't think of alcohol as being the powerful drug that it is. We need to draw attention to the fact that it is just as lethal. So people begin to realize that although alcohol may be in a liquid form that tastes nice to them, it's still just a glorified liquid drug that's being consumed by a huge majority of the people in our communities. With 1 in 12 adults having a drinking problem in the United States, and with 88,000 alcohol-related deaths every single year, this is a massive health catastrophe. The excruciating grief that I feel over losing my sweet Brittany Rose is always at the surface of every single thing I ever do and ever will do. It's been rough. It's been a tough road to find happiness in a world where she's not in it. But I focused even more on my other kids and grandkids, and I find that dedicating my life to helping others who are struggling as my daughter did is what helps me to feel connected to her. It makes me happy to know that she did not die in vain. My daughter's death gave my voice the impact to make people listen, and I won't waste that precious gift that she gave to this world. So I'm her voice to help prevent others from having the same thing happen to them. I would encourage anyone else experiencing this kind of grief to find a way that you can make this world better in honor of your loved one. Try finding something that would have meant a lot to your loved one and focus on efforts to do things to help others in their honor. If anyone would like to help advocate for change regarding addiction issues, I'm looking for people to connect with, to help make changes for the better for here in Wisconsin and for around the country as well. So please reach out to me if you'd like to join forces with me in order to move mountains. Getting there. I don't want to talk too much about politics here today, but everyone here should definitely try to become more informed about the different candidates' view on addiction, affordable long-term treatment and recovery options, and be sure to get out and vote for the ones who will fight for our loved ones afflicted with addiction. Try and encourage everyone you know to do the same thing, because together our votes can really make a huge difference in the direction of our policy changes. I recently was lucky enough to attend the first annual Mobilize Recovery event that was organized by the renowned national recovery advocate Ryan Hampton. Many of you probably have heard of him. He's the author of the book called American Fix, along with other top advocates. Ryan's an amazing person who I aspire to be like. People had to apply to be invited to this event based on their own work in the recovery field. Out of approximately 1,000 people who applied from across the country, I was one of the lucky 150 that was chosen to get to go. This is a group of dedicated advocates from all 50 states, Washington, D.C., and Puerto Rico, and we're all connected now and working together to create real change. If anyone here would be interested in learning more about Mobilize Recovery, please let me know. I can get you connected to many of the top addiction advocates across the country. They're getting ready to roll out a new website where we will have access to many advocacy tools. They're going to help train us in how to do the advocacy work that we want to learn about. It's pretty powerful stuff. During that event, I met one of their speakers from a national organization called Shatterproof, and I'm sure probably a lot of you have heard of that too. I learned about their ambassador program where people like me can share their stories to make a real difference. This organization can help advocates create real change, as well as Mobilize Recovery. I became a Shatterproof ambassador recently, and I'm very happy that I did. If you go to their website, you'll see an article that they actually requested that I write about the experience that I had in saving that young stranger's life. And so it can be found on their blog tab. And to learn more about Mobilize Recovery or Shatterproof, I have some sign-up sheets over here. You can just put your name and email address or phone number, whatever you want, and I can put you in touch with them or answer your questions. I've also created my own website with a link to a special Facebook page where I post as much helpful information about alcoholism as I can find. And you can find that website at www.brittany'sacap.com. So that's BRITTANYSACAP.com. And I also have a YouTube channel called Brittany's Alcoholism Counseling and Prevention, where you can hear me speaking at events like this. I have flyers about our website over on the table there and business cards with my contact information. So if anyone would like me to come and speak at any events regarding Brittany's story, my advocacy work, Mobilize Recovery, Shatterproof, I'll be willing to come and speak for free. I especially would like to speak in schools and universities, as well as speak with any members of legislative and policy-making processes. And for those people here that are in recovery, I wish you all a very long and happy and healthy life. And for those that are still struggling with any kind of addiction, I hope that you can stay strong and fight hard for your very life. We thought we had time to figure out how to get Brittany into recovery. I never really thought that she would actually die from it, but that did not protect her. So please, don't let the monster of addiction that took my baby girl get a hold of you and take you down like it did her. And I wish you all the very best with a long and happy and healthy life as well. And since you mentioned the certified peer specialist, I just 2 days ago found out that I have been accepted. I had to apply and got accepted through interview process to become a certified parent peer specialist. So that's kind of a newer certification through the state of Wisconsin. So I'm going to be doing that training next weekend.
That's awesome.
So thank you so very much for having me speak here, Beth. You are an amazing inspiration to me. And thank you everyone else, and I love you forever, sweet pea Brittany Rose. Sorry it was so long.